Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Forget Halstead, Jesse Lee Soffer must quit Dick Wolf's universe for new show. Although many hope that Jesse Lee Soffer will come back to Chicago PD, it's time he leaves the show behind and looks ahead to a new project. Soffer starred as Detective Jay Halstead in Dick Wolf's NBC police procedural for many years. After about a decade though, the actor left and joined the cast of FBI International, also co-created by Wolf. Unfortunately, CBS canceled FBI International in 2025, only one season after Soffer's arrival. Both Chicago PD and FBI International belong to the Dick Wolf universe, which includes all the One Chicago shows, the FBI franchise and the Law and Order series, meaning Soffer's history with Wolf is quite rich. However, he doesn't have to stay in the TV Legends broadcast universe forever. Wolf has been creating hit cop TV shows since 1990, but Soffer wasn't cast in one until 2013. Still, that means he has been attached to the producer for at least a decade, as the actor went from one of Wolf's series to another. 2 years after leaving Chicago PD, Soffer signed on to take over as the lead in FBI International. Soffer's first appearance as Halstead didn't happen in Chicago PD. He was actually first seen in the second season premiere of the original One Chicago show, Chicago Fire. The procedural drama introduced Halstead as an undercover police officer, shadowing a mobster who had been threatening Gabby Dawson. After completing his assignment, he joined the intelligence unit and became a Chicago PD main character. Soffer reprised his role as Halstead in the Chicago PD series premiere and stayed there for 10 seasons. Sadly, for those who loved his character, Soffer exited the police procedural at the beginning of its 10th season in October 2022. Then, Soffer reconnected with Wolf when he started playing Special Agent Wes Mitchell in FBI International in the fall of 2024. As mentioned above, though, CBS canceled FBI International and FBI Most Wanted in March 2025, so Soffer has been in the Dick Wolf universe for 10 years, not counting the years between his 2 TV series. It's high time for the actor to spread his wings and leave Wolf's network TV franchise behind and perhaps join a different police procedural. Derek Haas, the One Chicago franchise's co-creator alongside Wolf and Michael Brandt, released a new show in 2025 that Soffer would be perfect for. Haas exited the Dick Wolf universe. He also co-created FBI International in 2022 to work on new projects. His first complete one is Countdown. The Prime Video crime drama's first season debuted in June 2025 and has 13 episodes. Countdown stars Jensen Ackles as Mark Meacham, an LAPD detective assigned to a task force, which includes other law enforcement officials from different agencies. It's created to track down the murderer of a police officer. However, as one would guess, not everything is as it seems, as the characters soon unravel a bigger and darker conspiracy while trying to solve their original case. Prime Video hasn't renewed Countdown for a second season, as of the writing of this article. But if, and when, the streaming platform does, it should consider casting Soffer in a new role. He and Haas have a long history, having worked on Chicago PD alongside one another for many years before reconnecting with FBI International. Now they can reunite once more. The good news is that Haas is more than open to the idea of Soffer signing on to play a new character in Countdown Season 2. During an interview with TV Insider, the creator/showrunner discussed working with Soffer and whether he and the other Countdown producers could weave him into the story, maybe even reprising his role as Halstead. Haas said. Although Haas was thinking about Soffer playing his fan-favorite Chicago PD character in Countdown, it would be best if he played someone new. Soffer reprising his role as Halstead in a show that's not Chicago PD doesn't feel right. Plus, since many want Soffer to return to the NBC cop show, his appearing as Halstead in Countdown would just be a tease. So, instead of trying to fit a square peg into a round hole, Soffer should star as a new character in the Prime Video crime drama. It would be a fresh change of pace. It also allows Soffer to spread his wings and branch out, playing an archetype that he has never portrayed before. Maybe the actor could embrace a villainous role. Ultimately, if Soffer isn't coming back to the Dick Wolf universe, he should try a new project. Countdown could be the perfect solution. It contains something familiar, Haas, but it's also something completely different. Whatever the case, we'll be waiting to see what Soffer does next, whether it's returning to Chicago PD, joining the Countdown
For over
cast,
a decade,
or a third
Jesse
option.
Lee
Soffer's name has been synonymous with Detective Jay Halstead on Chicago PD, a character who evolved from hot-headed Army veteran to a loyal, if morally conflicted, cop navigating the gray world of Hank Voight's unit. Fans wept when Soffer exited the series in 2022, holding onto hope that his absence was temporary and his return inevitable. While the longing for Halstead's comeback hasn't faded, perhaps it's time for audiences to face a bigger truth. Jesse Lee Soffer deserves more than to simply return as Halstead or orbit endlessly within Dick Wolf's universe. In fact, if Soffer is to truly elevate his career, he needs to step away from Wolf's procedural empire entirely and take on a brand new show that showcases the range he's been quietly holding back. The Halstead Box. Halstead became one of Chicago PD's anchors. He was the unit's conscience, the protector of women and children, the soldier grappling with PTSD, and the romantic partner whose love stories brought vulnerability to a gritty police drama. Soffer mastered the role, but over time the character was trapped inside a box. Each season, Halstead was forced into similar story beats, clashing with Voight over questionable methods, sacrificing his own comfort for the greater good, and carrying the weight of a dark past. While Soffer brought nuance to these recycled arcs, the scripts rarely allowed him to break free. Instead, the spotlight shifted more heavily toward Voight's moral compromises, leaving Halstead reactive rather than proactive. When Soffer finally departed, it was a bittersweet moment. Fans weren't just mourning Halstead, they were mourning the wasted potential of an actor who had clearly outgrown the narrow confines of Wolf's brand of storytelling. Dick Wolf's universe is a double-edged sword. Wolf's shows are famous for longevity and loyalty. Once an actor joins the Law and Order or One Chicago family, they're virtually guaranteed steady work and a devoted fan base. But that security can also be stifling. Procedural storytelling relies on formula, the case of the week, the interrogation, the moral debate, and the tidy resolution or cliffhanger. While this makes Wolf's shows comfort food for millions, it also limits performers. Character arcs rarely stretch too far beyond the boundaries of the genre. Even breakout stars often struggle to transcend their Wolf roles. Take Christopher Maloney. He was electric as Elliot Stabler on Law and Order, SVU, but after leaving in 2011, his range finally exploded. Dark comedy, Wet Hot American Summer, edgy cable drama, Happy, and, eventually, a triumphant return to the Wolf fold on organized crime. His career renaissance only happened because he dared to step away. Soffer is now at that same crossroads. What Jesse Lee Soffer brings to the table. Soffer isn't just a brooding procedural star, his career started long before Halstead. As a child actor, he appeared in films like Matinee and even played Bobby Brady in the Brady Bunch movie. His early roles proved he had comedic timing, boyish charm, and a flexibility that got lost once he became locked into the Halstead mold. Watching Soffer across his Chicago PD tenure, one notices an actor capable of simmering intensity but also warmth and humor. In his scenes with Tracy Spiridakos, Haley Upton, he could soften his hard edges into romance. With Voight, he displayed fierce moral conviction, and in moments with victims and children, he tapped into tenderness that made him one of the show's most human characters. These qualities scream for a platform beyond the rigid world of procedurals, where he should go next. So what kind of show would allow Jesse Lee Soffer to break free and thrive? Here are a few possibilities. 1. Prestige cable drama. Soffer has the screen presence to lead a character-driven drama on HBO, FX, or Showtime. Imagine him as a morally conflicted anti-hero in the vein of True Detective or Ray Donovan. His ability to balance intensity with vulnerability could elevate any gritty, slow-burn story. 2. Streaming thriller. Platforms like Netflix and Amazon thrive on binge-worthy thrillers. Soffer could headline a limited series as a wrongfully accused man fighting to clear his name or a former soldier dragged into an international conspiracy. His natural intensity and physicality would translate seamlessly.